Let's get started. Okay, hi there. My name is Kevin Adela and I am 17 years old. I am from Houston, Texas. And today I wanted to share the World Wide Web my story or my life story. And you might be thinking, I'm only 17. What have I been through to have a life story? Well, grab a snack, sit down, enjoy. This is going to be a little bit of a long one. Hope you can stick through to the end. So I'm going to go into everything in a very general matter. I'm not going to go in depth about anything, but in the future I would like to make like semi-category videos explaining everything in depth that I talk about today. So July of 2016, I had gone through chemotherapy and had a bone marrow transplant. And I'm going to be talking to you guys about everything that has happened since then to now, since even before, everything leading up to this very moment of me sitting in here telling you guys my story. So starting from the very beginning, I was born with severe food allergies. Around the time I started teething, I was eating some Gerber wheat teething cookies and I had a severe reaction around my lips and I had rash and hives and my lips got all swollen and even turned like into a purple color. Ever since then, I have been allergy tested, but mostly through blood work, I have been tested for allergies. And get ready, I'm going to list off my allergies. Okay, I'm allergic to wheat, eggs, milk, nuts, oats, coconut, shrimp, barley, chickpeas, regular peas. I'm lactose intolerant and gluten intolerant. So yeah, those are my allergies. Okay, moving along. Along with the food allergies, I've had severe eczema. I've had like reddish welts and bumps on the creases of my arms and really, really dry skin on the face. Like all of a sudden in 2013, I got these huge welts on my back. They were thick and widespread all around my shoulders and the upper part of my back, and very itchy and dry and red. Kind of under the welts developed like tiny bumps. First they were on my face, around my nose and under eye area, and these bumps are called molluscum contagiosum. And so first they started off on my face, and then more on my back where the welts were, and the welts kind of started to go away. These bumps were all over my face and my neck, and then they started to spread, and then they kind of never made it past midway. So we went to a dermatologist and they said, this is called molluscum. It's going to take 6 to 12 months to go away. And we were like, okay, it's a long time, but so 12 months gone by, 2 years, 3 years, 3 years, and we're like, what the heck is going on? Something is wrong. This isn't going away. So I go to my annual checkup with my allergist at Texas Children's. She's like, this is not normal. It's not common. So she told us about this hospital, NIH, which is National Institute of Health. And basically she told us that they were doing research. So anyway, she's like, okay, we can send blood of me and my whole family. So they drew my blood and they sent it off to NIH. And I would say about a year later, we got it back. We got like results back saying that I have something called DOC8 immune deficiency. August 2015 was our very first visit, and NIH is in Bethesda, Maryland. First thing happens, we get there. And we get to the hospital around like night, maybe 9 o'clock. And the first thing they want is blood work. We had to stay inpatient, so she packed up and left, and I slept for the night. And then first thing in the morning, 8 o'clock, we went for blood work. Yeah, and they got like 30 tubes of blood. We stayed about for a week, and all week it was doctors in and out. This has been the most overwhelming experience so far. And so my main doctor said, you will be getting a bone marrow transplant along with chemo. And I was just like, wait, what? My entire life has just been flipped around. Like it just didn't make sense and I didn't process. November, we go back for our second visit around Thanksgiving time. And again, they pretty much do so in the first visit I had like head to toe checkups. So, everything came back okay. But my liver was a concern because from the blood work as well as a abdominal / liver ultrasound, they found out that I had high elevated liver enzymes, and through the ultrasound they found out that my liver is like coarse and bumpy, which is not a good sign. So ever since my very first visit, my liver has been a concern. With chemotherapy, it will damage your liver. So that was kind of something we had to look at closely and make sure, we're taking all the right steps to not damage it even more than it already was. So now they're getting in more depth of, they start explaining like, who's going to be taking care of you, what exactly is going to be going on, the actual process of having a bone marrow transplant. So second visit, all done. And then in my third visit, which is spring of 2016, which I believe was March spring break for me, we go into talking more depth about fertility. Now, when you go through chemo, you have a chance that you will be infertile. Basically, you can't have kids. You have to freeze your eggs. June 13th, 2016, I arrived back at NIH, and this is the real deal. So the very first thing we do is harvesting my eggs. That's what this process is called, egg harvesting. So you start off with, I think, 2 injections a day in your lower abdomen, and then we started on 3 injections. Well, that was about for 10 days, and then finally, basically these injections are, I think, hormones to develop more eggs and produce more eggs, so that when you go to retrieve them, when you go for the procedure, they have multiple eggs to retrieve. So the procedure is done under anesthesia. You're completely asleep. They retrieve the eggs and they store or freeze them in a facility. Now this is around the same time where we learn that my mother, my beloved mom, is going to be my donor, my bone marrow donor. And this is great news. You can also get unrelated donors, people who are on the donor list who these doctors look for when they're looking to find you a match. But I was so lucky and fortunate to have my mom as my donor. So after all of my fertility business, I had to get a central line. So a central line is basically an IV times 3, like a huge IV that sits like in your chest that goes through one of the tubes into your heart, and it sits there. And the purpose for this is to stay there, and if you need any IV fluids, any medicines, any blood work, you can also retrieve blood work from the tube. So the central line, again, you're asleep for the procedure. They place it and you wake up. This left me so sore on my neck area and this whole like clavicle part. It hurt to walk for like a good 10 to 15 days. But after that it got better, and this central line became my best friend because no more needle pokes, no more IVs, or at least I thought so, okay? No more blood work. After my central line placement, you pretty much get started. So now it's July 15th. July 15th, I got admitted to the hospital. So actually a couple days before July 15th, I've had test doses of two medicines, both chemo, but the medicines were called busulfan and palifermin. A couple of hours later, my entire face got so red and puffy and itchy. July 15th, I got admitted, was my first chemo dose. So I had 4 days of chemo, and I mean, people generally ask me if this hurt. No, the actual process of getting chemo does not hurt, but it makes you feel very, very weak because the purpose of going through chemo is to empty out your immune system. So basically, how I think of it is getting a glass with your old immune system, chemo goes in, you empty the glass. And then when you actually get your bone marrow, basically, this is ideally a blood transfusion. So the day of July 26th, very, very early in the morning, my mom got admitted and she got her bone marrow taken from, again, she was asleep for this process. She got it taken from the backbone because it is the most dense and it has the most product where they can get a good amount of it. And so they basically drill into your backbone and they retrieve the bone marrow and then they filter it to make sure there's no bone bit. They pretty much only get red blood cells. In the evening, they come in with a huge bag of blood. Think a Sprite bottle, like the big 2 liter with blood in it. Then they hook the bag up to my central line and the blood just starts flowing. The actual process of it is very, as all my doctors said, anticlimactic. Nothing really happens. You kind of just sit there. I was on my laptop. I think I was like watching a movie or something. When doctors are in and out, making sure you're okay. Nurses are getting my vitals. So basically, when you are having a bone marrow transplant, you look at it in days. So your bone marrow transplant day is day 0. And every day from then is day 1, 2, 3. And generally, the doctors look up until day 100. Day 100 is by the time you should be able to go back home. So I would say around day 10, 11, I started having really bad mucositis. Basically, what that means is like inflammation of your mucus lining. Normally, people get it in their in their mouth, around their gums and the lining of their cheeks, but mine was more so in the throat, which basically meant it hurt to talk, eat, drink, and by this time I was on so many medicines that, I had to drink water with my medicines, or like I had to take it with applesauce, which was like the most, I would say, the most pain I had. And mucositis is a side effect of chemo. So I guess if you want to say if chemo hurt, yes, because of the mucositis. But mucositis lasted, for I would say a week and a half. Another side effect of the chemo was darkening of the skin. So basically, anywhere I had the eczema patches, the molluscum, it just got like dark. Talking along the lines of side effects of chemotherapy, nausea was one of them, and vomiting. Nausea and vomiting, as well as taste change, and hair loss. I did lose my hair. So nauseous. I was nauseous 24/7 all the time, every day, and I was constantly, constantly throwing up. And because of the imbalance of consuming food and throwing it back up, I lost a lot of weight. I started this process at 120 pounds to dropping all the way down to 87 pounds. And when I got back home, it got even worse. I was at least 78 pounds coming home. But that's that. Taste change. And again, main point why I didn't eat as much was because my taste buds changed. You basically couldn't taste anything. My hair loss. So losing it was losing a big part of myself. Um, so right around June, right before we left, I did a big chop. I just chopped it right off, put it in a ponytail, chopped it. There was pretty much no going back since then. So I rocked a pixie cut for a little, a bob for a little bit. It was cute. I liked it, but obviously 100% prefer my long hair. And then right around the time I started going through chemo, I decided to just shave it completely off. We brought in a barber, buzzed it off completely, all gone. But the actual point where my hair started falling off, so it was, I think, around day 14. I lay down for a nap. It was just another day in the hospital. I was sleeping. I lay down for my nap, and then I wake up, but I feel like I'm not in the room. I feel like I'm not there. I feel like I'm in a white, isolated room and I just keep walking into a wall. That's kind of how it felt, and that's like the best way to explain it. But it was just a very, very weird state of mind and feeling. And, the nurse comes in for her routine checkup, and I start saying, like, what the hell is going on? Like, what the hell? I'm like, I just keep saying hell. And, like, this is not normal for me. Like, the nurse is like, low key freaked out, let me tell you. Um, and she's just kind of like, something is going on. So, like, and then all of these doctors are in. My mom is there. The doctor is asking me, like, do you know where you are? Do you know what year it is? Do you know who this is? She's pointing to my mom, and I'm saying no, no, no for everything. And they just keep asking me, and I think about like 5 to 10 minutes after she asks me the same questions again, I start remembering, like, yeah, it's 2016, that's my mom, yes, I'm at NIH, and then I remember lying back down for a nap. Like, the next thing I know, somebody's trying to, like, put an IV in my arm, which I'm crying my eyes out. Somebody's trying to, like, one of the nurses are trying to put, like, the heart monitors on. Somebody's trying to give me, like, my EpiPen shot from the other side, and a neurologist is talking to me, and I've gotten an allergic reaction from some blood products from earlier that day, and it's just a whole circus going on in here. It is crazy. And from there on, all I can remember is pretty much going to an MRI and then going to a CT scan, I think, and then later that night going to an ICU. Anyway, in the midst of all of that happening, I go to, like, scratch my hair or, like, my head or something, and then my hair falls out. And I'm just like, seriously? And then on top of all of that crying, I cry even more, and my hair is, like, on all over the pillows, and it was just horrible. So after this big horrific day happened, I'm in the ICU for about 4 days, and then I go back to my normal hospital room. So I was there for until day 42 or 46, when you're no longer neutropenic, which basically means your neutrophil count is high enough for you to be, like, out and about. They let you leave. You can not leave, like, the hospital area, but you have to stay close by. So basically you are, like, you stay in an apartment. I was provided with an apartment not far from the hospital so that we could commute every day. So once you're moved to an apartment, you come every day for daily blood work, daily, vitals, and you make sure everything looks good. And then after daily, it becomes every other day, and then every 3 days. So as you gradually come less and less of visits, you're able to, like, go out a little bit more. But during this whole entire time, you have to wear a mask to protect, yourself from others. Day 100 comes along, and it's honestly the best day ever. October 30th was an amazing day. I got to come home. I was surprised by my best friend, and a limo ride home, as well as a very, very sweet sign on my lawn that said, "Welcome back home, Kavya and Mom." Coming home was honestly an amazing day. I was able to come home and be with my family again. Finally happy to be back with everyone, so it was a real reunion. Coming home, it felt so great in the moment, but in the long run, it was kind of hard for me because I am such a people person. I'm an extrovert. I need to be around people. And just at this point, I couldn't physically be around people because I can't be around highly populated areas, meaning, at school or even at the mall. Like, I couldn't go out. And even if I did want to go out, I had to wear the mask, which, again, I really did not enjoy wearing. In the time that I was at home, being not around people, being very isolated, being in my room all day. So I kind of, got sad, and I had very low grade depression. I'm very grateful that it didn't go anywhere beyond that, or I didn't dig myself into a hole where it was hard to get out. I had a good family. I had an amazing support system, which you can always count on. Everybody was sending me, cards and get well soon, and that it may not seem a lot, but it really does keep my spirits up. And I tried to keep myself busy, but again, it was kind of hard staying at home. Around January, when you go for your 3-month visit, they basically do everything they did the very first visit: head to toe checkups, blood work, make sure everything looks good. And a 6-month visit, and leading up to a 9-month visit, and it was all good news. Everything looks better. Like I said, my liver was a problem, but after ultrascans and blood work, that's been looking better gradually. 9-month visit, everything leading up to 1 year, because after 1 year is the big hurrah. So 1 year, everything looks good. It's been pretty good, smooth sailing. So July 22nd, 2017 was my 1 year anniversary. It was a very, very happy, emotional moment in the family and for me. I was very excited. I was happy to be able to say that this is what happened and I survived. I am a survivor, although I don't have cancer, but I'm very grateful for everything that I've been through. I'm very grateful that I was able to find my mom as a match, or that the doctors found my mom as a match. I'm very grateful and thankful for everything. I wouldn't have it any other way. But now I think, yes, this did happen to me. This happened to me for a reason, I feel like. Although I don't know what that reason is yet, I feel like sitting here and telling you my story is part of that reason. And I really hope you guys can take something from this. If you like this video, I don't want you to subscribe. I don't want you to like, comment, anything. I want you to share this video. I want to raise awareness for DOC8 immunodeficiency and how chemotherapy is not used for only cancer patients. It is used for various reasons. Please just share this video. That's all I want you to do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can take something from this video. If not for yourself, for someone else. Thank you and have an amazing day.